Welcome back, guys, and right now we need to actually send a request to our API to actually get the result. And the first thing we're going to do is to make sure we install Axios. If you remember when we were scaffolding our project, there was some packages were installed and Axios was one of those packages. And if you go over to your composer.json file, you can see Axios right here. Okay, but if you don't have Axios right here, just go ahead and install Axios and you're good to go. Now, one thing we need to do, if you go over to your GS file, your bootstrap, you can see Axios has been required right here. So we don't need to actually go ahead and start requiring it or importing it again. It has already been done right here. Okay, and the next thing we need to do is to go over to our search component. So let me just open my terminal and just compile all this. Okay, so I'm just going to run npm run watch on this, and this is all I need to do, and that is just going to compile everything for us. So to actually send this request, we need to create a method. So right here we're going to say, and this will be a method. Okay, so we actually need to create a method called search. Okay, then doing this method we actually need to do Axios dot we can decide to use a get request. So this will be get request. I want to send this request to API/search. Okay, we don't have the API right now, but we're going to create the API as time goes on. Then we need to send this request with the search word, okay, as the parameter. So we can do something like this. So let's just go ahead and do something like this, and we can say this will be parameters. So let's just call this params. So if you check Axios documentation, you can actually send your parameters like this. So this will also be an object. Then I'm going to say s, which will be our index key for the parameter. So this will be then this dot search word, which is the search word that we're actually going to be sending to API to actually search with the search word. Then this is an object, not an array, so it has to be like this. Okay, and the next thing we can now do after all this is then when we get a result, when we actually get a result for this, then we can now save all the results that we actually get as a response. So we need a response right here. Okay, so this will be response. Then this will be an arrow function right here. Then we need to actually save this in a variable. Okay, now all the response we get from our backend after running the whole operation, we need to actually save them in a variable. So let's go ahead and create a variable, and we're going to call this results. Okay, and this will be an empty array. So we can just say this results equal to response, okay, dot data dot results. Okay, because at the end of the day we're going to be sending result back as the response, and the variable name is going to be result, so we're going to be sending it back. And yeah, so that's all we need to do. Then we need to actually count the numbers of results we got. Okay, so you can do results.length on this, but what I just like to do is I like to actually perform all my operations on the back end. Okay, so you can do results.length to actually get the total number of results, but I'm going to create a variable. Okay, and this is going to be an empty string. Okay, let's just do this should be 0 by default. So right here we're going to say this dot count. Okay, this dot count is equal to response. Okay, this is still on the response object. dot data dot count. Okay, dot count, we can call it whatever you want. Is just part of it's just a variable. Okay, this is all we need to do to actually send request. So right now, once probably once the user is typing, we want to actually run this function and this method right now. So we can now say key enter. We can use two. We can actually use two ways to actually do this. We can do key enter, and we can also do probably key up. Yeah, so those are the two we can do. So we can do a key up or a key enter. So it all depends on you. But let's just put a placeholder for this, and we can just say we can just do search by name, post title. Okay, so it's actually title, then category. Okay, this is just a placeholder. Then right now, if we should go ahead and refresh, we can see the placeholder right there. So this is the placeholder right here. Okay, so right now we can just go ahead and do probably at key up. So once the user start typing, we want to run the method search. Okay, and the next thing we can do is we can now say at key key press. So once this user press enter key, let's say dot enter. So once this user press the enter button, we also want to run the function. Okay, so for now we can just do away with this. We don't need this for now. So once the user press enter, we want to actually run this method right here. Okay, so this is all we need to do. And if we should keep an eye on the network tab in our development tool, so on our network tab right here, let's just go ahead and refresh so that we can get all new changes. So right now, if you should go and type probably code it me, and we'll click enter, the result, we're getting an error. This is not actually being run, and it said in promise request aborted. So let's just look at what the error is, and let's go back to our Virtual Studio Code. And right here, we need to actually prevent this form from loading. So what we can do is we can do at submit, and we can do search. So whenever this form is being submitted, we need to actually perform the search, and we actually need to prevent default. Okay, so what else you can do is you can just do away with this form and just have your input and do the key down, the key press enter. This will also work, but let's refresh now and let's just see. So once I type the name and I click send, this is not refreshing anymore, and we actually got an error and we actually got a 404 error. So let's go to our network tab, and you can see this is actually not sent. Okay, so you can see this request is being sent twice, because one, we actually tie an event that once this user present the function should run, and also when the form is being submitted, the function should run. So let's just remove one of them. So we're just going to remove this, and right now let's just wait for that to compile. I think that is done compiling, and if we should refresh, let's just go ahead and search this again. So let's say code it to me, and search this, and the request is being sent just once. Okay, so let's just go ahead and create this API and see how we can actually perform our query and send the response back to our front end. So we do this in the next video.